and how to use our Moodle site to do conversion problems. So first off, in the first week of class, in one of the assignments, you were supposed to upload a field inequality sheet. I went in and corrected and added comments. However, if you did not notice the comments, you might not know that you have some of the conversion factors wrong. So I have up on the screen here the correct conversion factors. These are the only conversion factors that you should use to do common conversions in the class. So I'm trying to teach a process on how to do problems, not just how to get the answer. And so I want you to show that you are doing these. And one way to ensure that is if we kind of limit the conversion factors that we can use. And so these are the ones that you should use. So instead of looking up how many inches are in a meter, you would need to go from inches to centimeters and then centimeters to meters using the conversion factors. Instead of going from liters to gallons or quarts to milliliters, you would need to go liters to quarts using our conversion factor, which has a little more precision than some other ones. 1.0567 quarts is 1 liter. Then go to gallons, or go from gallons to quarts to liters to milliliters. So be sure that you have these correct and then constantly use that as a reference using your units. Whenever any of these problems are in Moodle, then you have to show your work. And so I have 2 versions that I'm going to walk through and show you. I have the directions on how to do these in an information box above these questions. But if you ignore that, then you're not going to know what to do. And so it's very important that you don't just scroll down to the next question, because I put in information on how to answer the questions that come after that. And so the information box tells you that if it's a decimal number, that you need to put a 0 and then a decimal and then the rest of the number. That also tells you that for answers, you have to round it to the right number of significant figures, that inside each box, you have to put the unit, and the unit should come directly after the numbers with no spaces in between. That if there is a 0 after the decimal point, you need to put that there, and that the final answer has to be rounded to the correct number of significant figures. So what I have up here is I have an example problem that I created today so that I could walk you through one of these. And so the question, a member of the track team ran on average a 6.75 minute mile. That's 6.75 minutes per mile. How many minutes would it take them to run a 3,000.0 meter race? So you see there's a number here, 3.75 minute per mile, but that is not the measurement. The measurement is how long that race is and how many minutes it will take. And so in the first place, you would want to type the measurement. And so you would not just type 3,000, it would be 3,000.0 and then meters. You need to type it completely. And then using the conversion factors that are on the sheet, there is 1 meter and 100 centimeters. From centimeters, we can go to inches. And so 2.54 centimeters in the denominator to cancel centimeters, and 1 inch on top. Notice that I am putting the unit directly after the number. And then I can go to feet. So there's 12 inches is 1 foot. And then I can go to miles using the 5,280 feet. And then the abbreviation for mile is MI. And then we can use the speed that the person runs. So they can run 1 mile in 6.75 minutes, and minutes is abbreviated MIN. So then you would multiply and divide, and we would round it to 5 significant figures because there's a decimal point right there. So it's 3.000.0. All of those numbers are significant figures because the rule is first non-zero, and if there's a decimal, the last number you see, which is that 0. So For this one, we're going to multiply 3,000 times 100 times 6.75, and then we're going to divide by the numbers on the bottom. So we're divided by 2.54, divided by 12, divided by 5,280. So that is 12.582766664, and it keeps going. So we're going to keep the first 5 significant figures. So the first significant figure is 1, and then the 2, and the 5, and then the 8, and the last significant figure is in the thousandth place. It's a 2, but it's followed by a 7. So we're going to round up. So I'm going to type in 12.583, and then my unit, minutes. So if I submit this, it would be part of a test, and it would count them right or wrong. So I'm just going to hit submit and finish just so you can see. And it counted them all correctly because I put it in the correct format and I used the conversion factors from our class. On the test, another option that you will see for a conversion problem is in an essay form, and there's 2 ways that you can submit your answer. One, you can write all of the stuff down on paper, and then you will have to scan it and upload it right here with that. In this box, you would just put C paper, like SEE paper. Or I'm going to show you how you can actually create a table inside of the question. So this is the essay space, but we're going to be multiplying and dividing. And so if we did that same problem, but there weren't embedded spaces, then here I wrote it as 3.00 kilometers this time. You would increase the size by going over here and dragging this down. And then you would show the bottom row of macro keys. This button here is a table button. And we want a data table that has 2 rows. So you have a top and a bottom. And then I'm just going to put 7 columns because just to make sure I have enough. And so I'm going to do 2 rows and 7 columns. And it looks kind of small, but it will increase in size as I type into it. So I'm going to type the measurement in the first spot. So I could put 3.00 kilometers. And here spaces don't matter because this is not an embedded, this is what the correct answer is. This is just, I'm going to show her all my work. And so I'm going to put 1 kilometer because I'm going to use conversion factors. And that's the same thing as 1,000 meters. And so I use the conversion. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. And then I'm going to go to centimeters, 1 meter and 100 centimeters on top. And then 2.54 centimeters and 1 inch. And then 12 inches, 1 foot. And then 5,280 feet, 1 mile. And then the speed, 1 mile, 6.75 minutes. So I didn't put enough spaces, so I'm going to put my answer on the outside. And so the 3.00, the way I wrote it here, has 3 significant figures. So it's going to be the same answer because I used the same problem. And so I'm going to type the entire answer since I'm just going to show all my work. Okay, and that is minutes. And then I'm going to round to 3 significant figures because of the 3.00. And that's going to be equal to 12.6 minutes. And that's going to be the answer. And then you would just submit it and it would save it. So that's what it would save. And I could see that it was set up into numerator denominator. just like that. The other option is just to write all of these same steps on paper, write all of it out, and then you would scan it like you learned in the upload activity. You would scan it during the test, and then you would upload it to the spot that was available. But one or the other has to be there, and you have to show all the work on these conversion problems. You can't just put 12.6 because you need to prove that you did the problem, and part of proving it is to show all the steps and using only the resources for our class.